On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The PsyOp is out of control. The Sean Ryan show, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to catch it. I definitely listened to it. We've got some video of it, the important part anyways, we're going to be sharing. There's a lot of very weird things around this story, around what Sean was sharing with us, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong. We're going to talk about all the craziness. We're going to talk about some of the analysis that's being done. We're going to talk about some of these coincidences that seem to be happening. And I don't know, the couple key things that really jumped out at me is what are they accomplishing with these psyops? Not just a couple of the things that popped out, but one, we're now seeing homegrown terrorists. You guys noticed that, right? We've been worried about the border and the millions of people coming across the border. In fact, I've got a video I'm going to share where we talk about the equivalent of the Marine Corps per month. I don't know if that's exactly the way it's supposed to be, or I don't know how big the Marine Corps actually is, but that's a huge number of people. We're talking 9 million people over a period of time. So that's one thing, right? It's got us over here when we should be over there. That's strange. Again, the vote for speaker was very strange. I've got someone that's been going back and forth with me over and over, just trying to say Thomas Massie is a hero. I'm going to say at this point in time, I very strongly disagree, and at this point in time, I'm probably going to do everything in my power to try to keep Massie from ever having another day in office once his election comes. If he's done something helpful and useful, I want to see that information come out, because as of right now, didn't look like he accomplished anything other than being the one guy that went against everybody else. Not sure how that benefits us at all. That's weird. The Fear China thing with the whole drones. I don't know if you've heard it yet, but you're going to hear it soon. But this Fear China. China's got the same technology we're calling, and it's weird they call it gravitics. Normally it's called anti-gravitics, so it's interesting in that regard. And it's also, there's some weird wording around it that's kind of not appropriate as well. And Sean kind of plays coy or dumb in regards to it. And they're like, oh, it's just conspiracies, or what do they call it? Science fiction stuff when you look it up. And it is. TR3B, if you look at how that's supposedly powered, it's anti-gravitics or gravitics energy systems, as they were saying. The other thing we're supposed to take from this is that Trump is bad. Trump did a war crime type thing in Afghanistan and has been trying to hide it, so that's the other side of this weird psyop. This smells like the CIA all over the place. Every bit of this smells like the CIA. There's some very strange mistakes that have been made, which kind of shock me a little bit. And there's a lot of stories about whether or not the dude was alive at the time of the explosion, whether he had shot himself prior. Don't know. But we do have a video that, I swear, you watch it enough times and then you tell yourself, I think he moved. And then you watch it again and again and again, and it's like, you swear to God, you think you see him move before he actually pushes the button or blows it up or whatever. And then come to find out, we've got some very interesting information around him, his potentially not being genetically related to his child, having some mental problems, just a whole slew of weird stuff. We're going to talk about a bunch of this. But again, what are they trying to steer us towards? And I think, oddly, a lot of it, I think is meant to just scare us. Fear. And one thing that's powerful about fear is it causes people, anybody that's experiencing fear, any of you guys, it actually causes bad manifestation experiences. It causes you to actually help put energy towards giving power to these people. When you realize you're a sovereign being, you don't worry about what they think and say. You know we're protected. You understand that you're okay. That, yeah, something 1,000 miles away might be happening, but is it happening directly to you? No. But if you draw fear in and let it guide you, you'll be surprised how close to scary stuff you'll end up becoming. I know that sounds crazy, but it is actually one of the keys, one of the secrets. Again, know thyself. Know what's going on inside yourself. You are the only person that can do this for you. Nobody else at all. Once you got yourself taken care of, like in an airplane, right? Putting the mask on. Once you got your mask on, now you're capable of helping others. But if you're still operating from fear, if you're still operating from some sort of dark place, then that's where you are. And it makes it impossible to help others out of a dark place when you yourself are trapped inside of a dark place. This is going to be a tricky time for a lot of people. Hopefully, we can move through it together. That's the plan anyways. We'll see how that plays out. So let's get into it. Got a lot to talk about, and I've already eaten some of that time. Oh, let's try to bring this over. For once, Hakeem Jeffries, and thank God it's only like 5 seconds, so I don't have to deal with this stupid ass talking too terribly long, but for the first time ever, Democrats are actually being correct. I agree with it. I think he's telling us the truth.
American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote. American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote.
Yes, we will fart hard for the freedom to vote. Yes, we will. Aha! Freedom to vote, I say! Bring it! Fart humor's always good. Come on, right? No, it's not. It's never good. It's never supposed to be good anyways. Here's another funny little example of a Democrat talking about how he couldn't possibly trust an insurrectionist, yet in the same breath, literally, talks about how he wishes someone, and Democrats and independents, would insurrect the current president. Excuse me? This is Democrats for you. They don't see the contradiction at all.
Sorry, I cannot support an insurrectionist. I just can't. And I would really love to see Democrats and independents do an insurrection on Donald Trump.
All right.
So you can't support an insurrectionist, yet you're asking people to do an insurrection, which would make you an insurrectionist. So hopefully when you look in the mirror, you cannot support yourself, right? Because that's exactly what happened from this call from California. I don't even know if we know who this bastard is. If any of you guys recognize it, groovy. But I don't think this was on C-SPAN. I don't think they actually tell us who the dude was. Yeah, insurrectionists. Pissed off at people that are insurrectionists. All right, so if you didn't actually finish my video on Friday, I actually, at the very last, I went and checked to see if Speaker Johnson won. They're calling it the original vote still. So still the first round of voting, because two people that eventually didn't vote or abstained decided to change their vote and vote for Johnson. The only one person who did not vote for Johnson voted for another individual, and that person's Massey. Again, not sure what he's trying to accomplish. All he said publicly on Matt Gaetz' show is that he was willing to cut off his fingers. I hope he does. I don't know. I mean, it just seems silly. But I don't know why. Again, I'd love to hear it. I don't want to hear speculation, especially from the gentleman that kept speculating with me. But I'd like to hear him say why he chose to do this. What were you hoping to accomplish? Because it seems you accomplished little, if anything, and really just damaged yourself. Massey was someone that I used to kind of like, but again, actions speak very strong. Marjorie Taylor Greene's done similar stuff, and I've given her pretty strong remarks when she's done that, and then eventually she seemed like she got back in line. Again, I think sometimes people get bad information stuck inside their heads, not sure what happened, but Speaker Johnson is still Speaker Johnson, 218 votes to 215. He is, fortunately, the guy. One other person voted for others. And I forget who he voted for. I don't really care. Maybe you do. You can look it up. It's up to you. Here is a very fun video. Not fun, but you probably want to pay attention to this too. But this is Gaslighting with PsyOps. This is actually well done. They do it with some cool music. I think it's worth the 4 minutes and 50 seconds. I think it helps us understand kind of how these PsyOps are working and how they're manipulating and messing with us. Understand that. And also understand, we don't know for sure what happened. Anybody that's claiming they do is, well, either lying, making stuff up, misleading, whatever. People should be coming at this from this is what the best we know. Here's the analysis we've been able to provide. Here's what some of the experts are saying. We don't know for sure, and we don't. This is a PsyOp, unquestionably a PsyOp.
It's tyranny in motion.
Fourth generational warfare.
That's terrifying you and me.
Manipulating someone online.
Manufacturing emotion.
I like that.
Propaganda is persuading me. They guided me with psyops.
Psychological operations.
They guided me with psyops. They weaponize psychology.
21 mass shootings, and it's only May.
The truth.
This will be weaponized.
When I'm watching news of war.
That
Disinformation.
False flag operation.
Internet trolls.
Disinformation.
PsyOps.
A psychological operation.
Accessing and affecting the brain.
Unelected criminals.
Propaganda. It's become a tool of war.
PsyOps.
PsyOp.
PsyOps. Well, now I gotta drink the potion. If I want normality, they lead me by emotion.
Painfully evident.
I must obey the TV screen.
PsyOps.
They guided me with PsyOps.
Voice to skull, that's a real thing.
They gaslight me with PsyOps. I'm following the programming. Hey. Just look at my Twitter feed.
Fighting misinformation.
PsyOps.
Clock and dagger activity, Hollywood style.
They control what's happening.
Psychological operations group.
PsyOps. A problematic notion.
Psychological operations.
In reaction to the thing. Now here comes our solution. Your brain is a commodity.
The PsyOp
They're
soldiers.
guiding me with PsyOps.
She's playing within the rules.
They're guiding me with PsyOps.
That seems dishonest.
And hit me with technocracy.
PsyOps troops had been placed in CNN's newsroom.
I'm not sure who opposes that effort.
I think you're describing a different channel than the one that I watch.
Good heavens, misinformation. You're beautiful. I don't believe it. Here they go again. They've scrubbed the web, and now I can't find anything. My attitude, my desires, more pamphlet notes. They've radicalized my notions. But it's weaponized emotion.
Disinformation boards.
You're calling it conspiracy. Asleep in the commotion. Your silence is alarming me. Oh, gaslighting me with PsyOps. Gaslighted me with PsyOps. Gaslighting me with
Psychological operations.
Hey.
I could only get inside that brain of yours.
Gaslighting with PsyOps.
Yeah, they're sort of gaslighting us with psyops is, what's going on in a big way. What they're trying to accomplish, why they're trying to do this, again, it's control, manipulation, getting us to fear, getting us to push people under the bus, getting us to give up on certain pathways, giving us reasons to maybe hate Trump. It's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. Now, again, folks, I don't think the system is going to make it through this. Deep state, they're the Fed, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the dollar. That's the Federal Reserve note. It's what your stocks are based off of. If you got a 401k or an IRA, you're currently tied to the dollar, and you're tied to these stocks, these companies. Many of them are, again, deep state companies that haven't been truthful, that have been feeding money to themselves through little circular routes. And so we are going to see some sort of adjustment, however that plays out. If you're in their system, you've put all these years of your retirement into their system, great. Right now, you're sitting at probably the best it's ever going to be. Maybe it gets a teeny bit better before it gets worse. Again, don't know for sure. No one has a magic crystal ball. But we see what's happening with the deep state. We see the fact that Donald Trump's coming into office. We see the fact that they will do anything to stop that, hurt that, destroy that, whatever they've got to do. You can see the writing on the wall. Now, my good friends at Goldco, they don't believe all the crazy crap I talk about. They don't, and good thing they don't, frankly, because what they're supposed to do legally, professionally, responsibly. They're supposed to help you get out of their 401k, their IRA, into an IRA, a precious metals backed IRA. That's what Gold Cove does. They're the best at it. Best customer service, 5-star ratings. People love them, and there's been thousands of happy clients, and certainly hundreds from my audience. Many people are seeing huge benefits because the price of gold and silver has gone up a lot, and it's still continuing to. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Their system is very questionable. Precious metals are a very safe place to put your hard-earned wealth. All of your years of sweating tied to $1 in stocks. No, get it into something that's actually going to hold its value. It's actually holding its buying power. The dollar's not. It's lost 98% of its value in the 111 years that it's been in existence, and lost 25% of its buying power just during Biden's administration. It is not the safe haven that we've been led to believe. Go to drslikesgold.com. Get your wealth protection kit. Let my good friends at Gold Co. do the thing they are exceptionally good at. Let them get you out of that system and into a precious metals backed IRA. You can still donate to it tax-free. You do it pre-tax, it's the same thing. You can still do that. You can also withdraw from it like you normally would in any other IRA. It's a powerful vehicle that will hold your buying power in a safe space. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. You could also qualify, by the way, up to $10,000, up to 10% of the face value of your 401k or your IRA, and free silver too, by the way. Free silver. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. And get out of that nasty system, folks. All right, now here's the 5 minutes. So this is actually, I got an 8-minute section where there's like an extra 3 minutes prior to them actually talking about the email. Now, again, this is one thing I want to point out, and this is something that's extraordinarily important for all of us to understand. And I'm not throwing shade on anybody because I don't even know if I could. I don't know if it would be correct or not correct. But what I am going to say, and this is a mistake almost everybody I see and talk to makes. People equate someone's truthfulness based off their credentials. So if someone provides credentials and they're good credentials, then we assume everything they say is true. That is not a correct statement of fact. That is actually not correct logic. Someone's credentials, when they speak about something, yes, I'm going to listen to them at least, and what their analysis and opinions are do, in fact, matter. But it does not, in fact, guarantee what they're saying is truthful. Truth is a completely separate thing. Somebody's either a truthful person or not a truthful person. Doesn't matter what your credentials are. You could be a doctor that lies. You could be a doctor that tells the truth. It doesn't matter that you're a doctor. Same implies with someone in the military, spec ops, and all the other things under the sun. Great. They should know what they're talking about. In most cases, they do, but it doesn't mean they're truthful. And I think in the case of what happened here, I don't think they're not being truthful per se. I think they assumed the information they're getting is accurate, but there are some strange things that they brought up, but they don't key in on, they don't spend any real time on. I don't know, some very strange things. Plus, the email itself, there's a lot. We're going to talk about it, but I want to at least equate you or get you up to speed, for those of you that have not seen this yet, with what the hell I'm talking about. Supposedly this email that the gentleman in the Tesla truck in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas supposedly sent on the 31st of December. There's some questions around that too, but we'll get there. So let's play the 8 minutes first to get started, and then we'll roll on.
Nothing ever like this has ever come in. But he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity.
I'm nervous about this one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really nervous about this one. So yesterday I come into work and our stuff's been exploding because of the Sarah Adams, had Sarah Adams, Scott Mann, legend, did an interview with Masood, kind of warning everybody about it's going to be a lot of terrorism here in 2025. Didn't take long, Jan 1, it hit. I come in yesterday and for an interview, the first thing I do is talk to my producer, Jeremy, and he says that he's been in contact with you and that you had received some type of manifesto, the Green Beret that set off the car bomb at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
Right.
Apparently CID, Army CID, which is, how would you describe it? It's like it's
FBI light.
Yeah.
They are federal agents, but yeah,
the Army's FBI.
Yeah.
I get all these messages from these people that say CID is talking to this person and that person, and one of these guys on the list is still operational, and they want his name redacted, and every Green Beret I know is texting me about this.
So for context, I've run this account for the last 4.5 years. There have been people in and out writing articles and different stuff and just investigations, some big, some small, just trying to keep accountability in the military, but developed a robust network within the military, all branches, and people feed into this and send me messages and here and there. Nothing ever like this has ever come in. And then he messages again once that message was opened up. And I said, hey, your previous messages haven't come through. What do you want to tell me? And he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. He tells me that he is a 18 Zulu who I've spoken to before, and he really needs to get this stuff to me. And then he talks about you. He says, I need you to get me in contact with Sean Ryan. I ended up getting this message on Tuesday. So the message that this right here, this manifesto, if you want to call it that, came in on Tuesday. And when I started reading this, my initial take was, okay, this is off the deep end. It's bonkers. I can't validate or verify any of the stuff in this manifesto. Mm-hmm. And I told him that. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBID. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive VBID. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a VBID was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally. Dead serious. I said it twice and he goes, you said that word VBID. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a VBID is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive VBID. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff. And this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA and Agent Redacted of the DEA, so I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with Redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, Redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? Hegseth would be good too. That was his last message to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, what is a gravitic propulsion system?
To be honest with you, it is a fancy term you're going to find in science fiction. You won't find it in any, as far as I know, you won't find this in any kind of official manual or, scientific research. This is all science fiction. So, but what struck me is his use, what strikes me now, not then, but what strikes me now is his use of a very specific term that nobody else would call it. If you asked me, I would say an anti-gravity propulsion system. That's how I would describe it because I don't know this stuff. He said gravitic propulsion system.
Anti-gravitics is what it's typically referred to as, not gravitics systems like that. So, Sean Ryan says they located an alternate IG handle. They talk about that later in the show. Ryan says this directly corresponds to Matt Livelsberger's previous emails sent through our website. So this is what Sean Ryan was sending with new information. We have located another handle that was shared by us by antihero_pod. It was in my personal Instagram box and on the Sean Ryan Show Instagram inbox. So again, somehow we're supposed to equate all these things together. Now, Tesla Cybertruck driver apparently had sustained some brain injuries. That's what we found out from his ex-girlfriend. There's also been questions around the genetics of the child that his ex-girlfriend has, that maybe this child was, in fact, not his. So this guy seems like he was going through some stuff, some post-traumatic stress disorder, possibly some depression. Got an ex, he got a situation where maybe the child's not his and that just broke his heart. A lot of things are possible there, and this can definitely send a person off down a crazy path. Now, do crazy people sometimes make stuff up as a manifesto, if you will? They can. Does that mean what he said is false? No, it doesn't. Again, a lot of information that we're trying to put together and trying to make sense of. Now, this one is kind of fun. The FBI says this believes the email is authentic. Really? So, do we give a shit what the FBI tells us? We know they lie. We know they're oftentimes behind stuff like this. This feels very much like a CIA op anyways, but okay. So apparently the FBI agrees that it's legit. Whatever. Now, USAP stands for Unacknowledged Special Access Program, which are black budget programs the government doesn't acknowledge and Congress has no oversight. So any of these projects that he was working on supposedly, especially if he had USAP access, means he was involved with top secret stuff. Now, if he was about to whistleblow on top secret stuff, it wouldn't surprise me that the government was paying close attention to him. In fact, we did find out some interesting information that suggests that maybe he'd been compromised. Brian Cates brings this up. The narrative I'm getting from reading this highly suspect Las Vegas car bombing manifesto. Trump is not who he thought he was. Trump is a war criminal. Trump committed war crimes and then covered them up. Nice narrative you are launching there, CIA. Be a real shame if a couple million digital soldiers thoroughly examined it. Guess what? A bunch of digital soldiers have done exactly that. Green Beret Naptime posted this. This is the single most important piece of information in the Vegas bombing. It's arguably one of the most single pieces of information. I think there's a number of things that are important to pay attention to. We cannot trust any of the information contained in the emails or messages from Matt Levelsberger after December 29th. And this is also in the interview. That was when his signal safety number was changed. Now, for those of you, and I wasn't familiar with how Signal works, so for those of you unfamiliar with Signal, it is a peer-to-peer encrypted messaging app that assigns you a unique safety number based off of your phone and SIM card. It only changes if your Signal account is loaded onto a new phone or SIM. It automatically lets everyone in conversations with you know if your safety number has changed. Matt's changed on the 29th. All information sent by Matt after the 29th must be treated as misinformation, or at least should be questioned. And the emails to Sean and Sam were sent on the 31st, 2 days later. Why hasn't this been addressed? It's a very powerful point that is made. Now, this gentleman continues that Matthew Levelsberger is a patsy. The question is for who and what purpose? I agree with that. Let's break down why I think this is true. Does he have more stuff in here? Cool. I didn't actually read all this of his. But yes, he's changed the safety signal number. And if you're scared for your life and running from the feds, you don't transfer any personal accounts from your personal phone to a clean burner. And you don't rent a damn Tesla that is rolling trackable live streaming computer. None of this makes any sense. You wouldn't. If you were going to try to run from the feds and cross the border, you would not use a Tesla at all. Not that there's anything wrong with Teslas, but they have an enormous number of cameras and they have all sorts of like GPS and everything else under the sun. Very easy to get access to that stuff. Very easy. You wouldn't do that. So why did he? And this guy's like, I am not usually a conspiracy theorist, but this shit has me. Holy shit, this keeps getting wilder. Now the email or emails are probably fakes. This is where we're going to get into the next little set of information. Bone posted this. They obviously wrote this because it has red lines under all the words. This is a powerful thing to point out. Sent emails will never have spell check lines. This is true. Any email you ever receive, if it's got misspelled words, you're not going to see red lines under the email. You only see that in the editor page when you're writing the email, or if you pasted it into some sort of Word type document thing, right? Something that has spell check. That's the only time you would ever see all the red lines. We've got red lines under gravitic. It didn't like that word. SIGINT, ISR, didn't like those words. There's a couple other funny things about this. Oh, well, from the person, it's also got a spell check on it. What's also interesting, and Jordan Sather points this out, and I'm not sure if it's this post or coming up in a second, but we're just going to cover some of it while we're here. Up here, we've got 10:42 a.m. That's normal time. Down here, we see 14:22. Also, this was a good catch by Jordan because he's the only one I saw that pointed it out. There's a space between these two alligator brackets. That shouldn't be there. There should not be a space there. That's not appropriate. Also, why do we have military time here on the 29th, by the way, versus up here we have regular time? It should just be 10:42. And people would be like, well, how do you know it's AM or AM or PM? Because if you're on military time, it would be, 22:42 if it was 10 p.m. It'd be 10:42 if it was 10 a.m. That's just how military time works. So that's weird. So we've got spell checks, which means they dumped this into an editor of some kind. It's a forwarded message from this individual on this date, like we heard. So even if they tried to re-forward it, the time would have changed. So that's been either edited, altered, because they wanted it to look proper. And the other interesting thing I want to point out is sent from Proton Mail for Android. Sent from Proton Mail for Android. Why is that significant? Well, we'll get there in a sec. Maybe sooner than I realized, but we're going to get there. Yeah, good. So this is the iPhone they recovered from the exploded vehicle. He supposedly sent the email from this iPhone, yet it was sent from Proton Mail for Android, which you can't put on an iPhone. You can't put Android apps on an iPhone. You can put Proton Mail for iPhone on an iPhone, but not Proton Mail for an Android. One more question at the Levelsberger email. Authorities said they recovered the iPhone at the scene. Why was his email Sean Ryan posted sent from an Android? Very, very good question. Again, we've got a couple more interesting things that I think Jordan Sather did a really, really good job. Some questions he asked, and he's not right about all these, and I think a lot of people were given some responses, but some of the things that he asked I think are really, really solid questions. So here's some of the stuff he was asking. Some of the drones we saw clearly had winged or propellers. We've heard people talk about the noises and everything else. So why does he insinuate they are all gravitic craft from China? I've got another guy I've talked about, Michael Sally, talks about how there was a report quite a while back that these things were coming up out of the water. So in his mind, all of them are coming from the water, which is not true. We've got a myriad of examples of different kinds of drones that were happening over there. And again, why did they suddenly stop? Why did they stop during Christmas time? Especially after they got through telling us that that Piccolini site was probably testing some stuff. Calling them gravitic propulsion system powered aircraft is retarded language from someone with UAP, USAP access. That's true, because that's not really how you would state it. Especially powered by gravitic. Anti-gravitic is a propulsion system. How it's powered would be a separate thing entirely. You wouldn't power it by gravitics. That would be how it its propulsion system works. It's moving opposite of gravity, or it's capable of countering gravity in movement abilities. And many people talk about how, you could basically, there would be no inertia inside. This is what a lot of the stuff says about the TR-3B. They said we had evidence that most of the drones were testing craft from Picatinny Arsenal, and now they're all from China. Again, why are we having an alternate sort of theory being forced on us right now? Right? We all thought this was Picatinny. We all thought this was probably technology the United States has. Now it's not. Now it's China. Now they're going to get us. Now they've got bombs and stuff they're going to blow us up. If these drones are from China submarines launched for years, our military somehow didn't know, again, we would destroy that submarine. There's no way we've got subs off our coast, especially Chinese submarines, that we're not able to find. We, the British, maybe Israel, Russia, we have been doing submarine warfare for a very, very, very long time. China has not. China is new to the game. They are not nearly as good at it as we are. So this idea that there's a submarine off our coast launching things and we can't seem to find them, and we know these things fly back to the submarine at night? Are you shitting me? That's unacceptable. The unnamed aircraft are the most dangerous threat to our national security that has ever existed. Not nukes. Reeks of fear porn. I agree with Jordan on this one. Why are they trying to freak us out? They also talk about the unlimited payload capacity. That's also redonkulous. Because whatever the case is, one, like he says, these things are launching off submarines. So it's a fixed size vehicle. Be it flying in air, multi-medium, whatever. It's a fixed size vehicle, which means its payload is not unlimited. Now, from the standpoint of anti-gravitics, can you basically build as big a ship as you want and possibly put as large a thing inside of it as you want? Yes. But if it's launching off a submarine, no. No, you can't. So again, messed up. And he was asking, wasn't he on leave from Germany? But he's trying to cross the border? Going AWOL? If he has knowledge of supposed war crimes, why go public now? Why would someone in the 10th SFG have UAP, USAP access? I can't even speak to that. I don't even know how Jordan would possibly know that. I don't believe Jordan's ever been in the military, but Jordan has been on the UFO scene for, well, since he came onto the picture about, 10 years ago or whatever. He's been running around for quite some time. So none of this really makes sense when you kind of break it down information for information. And again, talking about if you're going to cross the border, why would you rent a Cybertruck? It's going to be tough to charge that thing to run in Mexico because they don't have a bunch of those charging stations all over. And if you're on the run from the feds, why rent a Cybertruck? EVs can be tracked pretty easily these days. So makes no sense that he was actually doing what he claims he was doing. Nor, since he was a Green Beret, Spec Ops, whatever, all that stuff, then why was he, again, transferring all this stuff to burner phones? That's stupid. You get a burner phone because it doesn't have any tie to you. That's why you get a burner phone. You don't get a burner phone so you can load all your normal software on there. You put your Gmail account or your Proton Mail account and then start sending emails from it. Well, that attaches information to that email. They know it's coming from a burner phone now. So you've accomplished nothing. In fact, you've destroyed what you claim you were trying to accomplish. So it does sound like this dude was a patsy. Again, why? What they're trying to accomplish, we don't know. Now, some people have also done some digging on vehicle records for this individual. And here's the funny thing. He's never owned the vehicle they talked about. He turned 16 in 2003. How would his parents have bought him a 2006 Ford Mustang in 2003? Now, maybe they waited a little bit longer. Sure, I'll give you that. But his first car was a 98 Mustang. By 2007, he was already living in Germany, where he bought the BMW. That was his next car. And then he had a motorcycle, Jeep Patriot Sport, Volkswagen Jetta, and a Ford Edge SEL. And then he finally got a 2018 Mustang GT. So him claiming that his first car was something it doesn't seem to be, that's interesting. Right? Why is that? Is that code? Is he trying to say something to somebody? Was this just a oops? Don't know. But it doesn't seem to match the data. So Green Beret Matthew Livelsberger, 37, whose Tesla vehicle rained fireworks and steel shrapnel outside the hotel, and Army veteran Shamsuddin Bahar Jabbar, 42, who killed 14 people with his truck, they all worked at Fort Bragg. Now, I'm going to talk real quick about this. I don't know a lot, but from my understanding, if you're in the Army, almost everybody goes through Fort Bragg at some point. Fort Bragg is involved in a whole crap ton of stuff. So it's not uncommon that they would necessarily be from Fort Bragg, but Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty, is home to the 4th Psychological Operations Group, which conducts influence activities to target psychological vulnerabilities and create or intensify fissures, confusion, and doubts in adversary organizations. We use all available means of dissemination, from sensitive and high-tech to low-tech to no-tech, and methods from overt to clandestine to deception, the organization's official website reads. After the 10-day assessment, soldiers are put through 41 weeks of physically and mentally demanding training called the PsyOp qualification course. The last few months see soldiers learn how to use propaganda and other methods to influence the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of a target audience, often in an enemy territory. While the FBI's Deputy Assistant Director Chris Rea emphasized on Thursday that investigators have found no definitive link between Livelsberger and Jabbar, that hasn't stopped others from connecting seemingly ominous dots through Fort Bragg, which is also where Ryan Ruth came from as well. Again, a lot of people go through there. Livelsberger was at the base no later than November 2024 when he received his Unmanned Aircraft Systems UAS qualifications there. While officials have stated that there is not a link between the two horrible events, the base has connection to information warfare tactics, including unsettling behavior modification projects. Soldiers look to join the Army Psychological Operations must endure a physically and mentally demanding training pipeline, which starts with a grueling assessment and selection that lasts for 10 days. So there are some interesting coincidences there. Now, this is something that the more I watch it, I think I kind of see that there is a movement. The dude's face is kind of hard to see, but I think it's roughly in this part of the picture. And before the blast, there does seem to be a small movement. Again, he supposedly blew this up from inside the car. So that does sort of defeat the idea that he somehow put a bullet through his head. They're saying he did. But one of the things that doesn't quite match that is if he did shoot himself, and this is something that I think would be very easy if the Trump people, Eric, if you were listening, or any of you guys over there, Don Jr., if you guys can get us video of the Cybertruck pulling up to Trump Tower, we should be able to answer a lot of things. If we can see a solid piece of video evidence of this thing pulling up, the potentiality of any movement inside of it, and then the explosion. Because that would answer a lot of questions. Right now, we don't really have that. Right now, we've got this little piece of video footage. Again, I think this is the dude's head, roughly right around here. I've watched this a bunch of times, and I swear it's like, does he move? Does he not move? Whatever. I feel like whatever your brain thinks is what your brain's going to see, but here it is. So, yeah, it's a slight, small movement. It is so imperceptible almost, but, and again, it could be the crap video. They're zoomed in on it, so that can actually, from pixelation, can cause some weirdness. Hard to say. Again, this is what's being pushed around out there. Now, of course, CNN driver who exploded Cybertruck in Las Vegas railed about political grievances and domestic issues before his suicide. So they're playing him up to be a deranged individual that just wanted to be a terrorist. Again, homegrown. This is where CNN's pushing the narrative. CNN, I feel, is the CIA side of this, pushing their version of the narrative. So it seems one of the big things they're trying to push is that, no, the problems we're going to have are not going to be all the terrorists that have come across the border, millions of them, or millions of people illegally streaming across the border, and probably thousands of terrorists. No, it's not that. It's the homegrown people we got to worry about. And they even went so far as to try to call him a Trump supporter, but he was having some issues, having some problems for sure, and also was wearing that Ukrainian shirt. He's also was involved in some History Channel thing. I didn't pull the video because I don't know if it's relevant in any way, shape, or form, but he was part of some video that they played on the History Channel, kind of showing him and their activities and how they do Green Beret stuff and all that, whatever. So we're here to blow Starship up. Here's another very weird thing. FBI right now is probing bomb threats at the spaceport in Texas. They're claiming that there was a truck full of, Middle Easterns, of course, Middle Eastern people that were driving around, got in a conversation with some random people. Random people are like, hey, man, what you guys doing from here? You don't look like you're from around here. And they're like, oh, we're here to blow up Starship, Starbase. Really? Really? You're just going to run around and tell people that you're here to blow stuff up? Not very secretive, no. Not very smart, no. And probably never happened. Anybody that's serious about actually trying to bomb Starbase isn't going to be, like, telling people about it, are they? No. So why is this floating around? Again, it's a Musk-Trump connection. Tesla truck, it's Musk's favorite truck. An odd choice for sure to make a bomb, especially a crap bomb. This guy was supposedly an explosives expert and should have been able to, like, friggin' MacGyver some dirt and a paperclip into something that blows up significantly bigger. I mean, I had someone even email me that said they could basically take dirt and a couple other things and make something burn hot enough to melt flesh. Like, there's way better bombs they could have made. And in fact, we'll get there, but the dude from New Orleans, the coolers supposedly, we're being told by the feds, so whatever, but those coolers supposedly had explosives in them that have never been used or made that we know of in the United States or Europe, implying, of course, that he did in fact go to the Middle East to learn how to make these types of weapons, these IEDs. Now, they didn't seem to go off, which is also interesting. But why all this? Why this narrative? What are they trying to do? Obviously freak us out, but why? Are they trying to scare Trump? Are they trying to, don't know. And again, just to remind people, they still haven't been able to crack this kid's phone. This is the first guy that actually shot Trump. Not people, Ryan Ruth, keep calling him his attempted assassination. He didn't attempt per se. He was in a place where he could have done some stuff, but never pulled the trigger, never shot the weapon, he didn't do anything that was an attempt. He was just located in a place that was extraordinarily suspicious. But this kid, he actually shot Trump. And they still haven't gotten into his phone. Why is that? Think about it. They want Trump down. They don't want Trump in office. They don't want us. They want us all to look bad. They're desperately trying to figure out how to get us to insurrect again. Though why would we? If anybody's going to insurrect, like the guy was saying, it's going to be the Democrats, which I'll be curious to see how things play out on the 20th. Also, the 6th is going to be a significant day tomorrow, but I don't know. We'll see if anything happens. I feel like they're trying to get stuff to happen. So, New Orleans attack suspect supposedly traveled to Egypt. This is under investigation. And I remember when I first called this out, I was like, how do we know this? It was just listed as a sentence within a story, and that was it. Just listed. No verification, no backing it up, no figures, facts of any kind. Just, he went to Egypt. Says who? Well, supposedly it was his brother that said this. Again, it might be true. Probably is true. Don't know. The dude seemed radicalized. The fact that he had an ISIS flag on the back of his truck is so strange. Again, why? I mean, was he driving around with the speaker going, Allahu Akbar, like whatever the hell, right? Like, I mean, all of this seems very strange. Very strange. Sinister reason why the New Orleans terrorist set his Airbnb on fire ahead of the Bourbon Street attack, says Daily Mail, is because he was trying to hide the evidence. Duh. Really? But somehow the fire burned itself out before burning the building significantly. The owner of the Airbnb has not said any public comments regarding this because the FBI told him not to. Again, that makes no sense. If the FBI told me not to talk about something, I would talk about it almost immediately. There's nothing they can do or say that would keep me from free speech. So again, why? Obviously, the FBI doesn't want us to know. And, you know, I think this is above their pay grade, frankly. I don't think the FBI was necessarily behind this. Maybe they're just bummed, you know, that someone else got the upper hand. This feels more like potential CIA or PsyOp type operation against us. What it is exactly, I don't know. Well, if we ever figure it out, that'll be friggin' an awesome day. So some chilling details emerge about the rare explosives that this terrorist is planning on using. They never went off. These IEDs were unique. They said they've never been in a terror attack in U.S. or Europe. This is based off 2 senior law enforcement sources. So again, Daily Mail sucks balls. It is. It's a story they're pushing this narrative out there. Again, not sure if it's true. We have no way to know any of this. So please don't just assume whatever you read is true. Take the facts for what we know. Take the craziness for what we know, and just sort of we do our best to kind of cobble it together. And, well, the one thing we do know is the official story is bullshit. That's assured. It's bullshit. Now, what exactly happened? I don't know if we'll ever know. It's definitely not what they're telling us. It's definitely not what CNN is leading us to believe. It's something entirely different. And then why are they, again, trying to push us all into this, be scared of China, be scared of China, China's going to blow us up any second? What's the other side of that? Again, fear is something that they can use and manipulate us with very, very powerfully. And so that could be the purpose of all of this because of what they're hoping to try to accomplish here in the next few days. And there's a couple questionable things. One, the 6th is going to be questionable. That's tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. Second is the 10th is a very significant day. We'll get there. And then obviously the 20th is a very significant day. And Dan Bongino brought up something remarkable, and I think I've got that over in Trump's section, but it's the possibility of an assassination attempt with a drone is significant because you can put the bulletproof glass in front of you, but a drone can drop something from above, can't it? Now, a regular commercial drone wouldn't be able to. They're going to have a no-fly zone in place. It would not allow anything like that to fly over. But military drones, definitely. And in fact, we've supposedly got EMP technology that we can use against these drones. But here's the thing. If they're a military drone, all you need to do is surround the electronics with a Faraday cage. And a Faraday cage usually would be a metal frame or a metal wiring. But what it could also be, especially if you had something, say, like the carbon fiber, is if you ran some metal, liquid metal, whatever, like even like something like if you're soldering, like even something like that, but ran thin lines of metal around it, you could actually create a Faraday cage that way, and it would still be exceptionally lightweight. So an EMP weapon would not work. So that's part of this. Now, if there are abilities to stop these things, we'll see. I don't know if they're going to do any sort of special stuff with Trump. I am sure they're going to be well aware of this potentiality. And if they pick up anything nearby in the sky above or whatever, guarantee you they're hauling Trump's ass out of there. We'll see how that plays out, but that's going to be a little interesting. It's probably because we all need a little help sleeping right now, frankly, with all the crazy shit going on. I want you guys to go to MyPillow, mypillow.com/OTF. MyPillow.com/OTF. They're still giving out the best pillow. I say giving because it's so dang cheap. The best pillow ever made. The original pillow, I think, hands down, is the best pillow. I love the pillow. I am stoked on my new king-size version of it. It is just as good as the queen-size version, which I thought was funny because I thought there was kind of a difference in the 2.0. I've got a queen-size 2.0, and I've got a king-size 2.0. And to me, they're kind of different. They just are. The way the fill works out, the way it fills out. But personally love the original pillow significantly more, and I'm just stoked that I bought the king size of it. It's awesome. I think it's for an extra $5 you get the king size. I think $14.98 is your regular queen size. These dish towels are incredible. These are bed sheets here. I got dish towels somewhere probably. Yeah, here they are. The dish towels are super cool. In fact, I paid $5 more for them, but they're very, very awesome. Also, bed sheets, $39.98. They've got amazing patterns. Look at some of these cool patterns. They got some new stuff, and they're super deep pockets. So even if you have a topper, which I also highly recommend, and they're on sale as well, even if you have a topper on top of your mattress, these things will still go around that corner, and you're not going to be stroking out on that fourth corner, right? It's so hard. These sheets fit beautifully. I love it. And also, their towels are, bar none, the best towels I've ever used. They've got the 6-piece towel set, $49.98, an incredible deal. You got the 2 face, 2 hand, and the 2 body towels. Just really, really nice towels, all sorts of great colors, especially for people that like to switch up the colors and, be fancy and festive and have it match and stuff like that. I just buy colors that I like. And then I switch them up when I do the laundry, and I don't care if it matches anything. That's just me, right? It's like, it's my bathroom too, right? I got some in the other bathroom, but I don't care. I'm a dude, and it's fun that way. It's actually a lot of fun that way. They got the slippers too, $59.98. These new slippers are really, really, really good, and they're doing a great sale still. So check it out. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Check out some of the incredible deals. Their closeouts, overstocks. They've got a whole bunch of really, really good stuff that they're trying to get rid of. Pet blankets, pet beds, and the beach towels are really, really nice. I bought 3 of those as well. Super nice beach towels. And the socks are incredible. Everything they make with the cotton is that awesome cotton. So incredible stuff. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. And seriously, you've probably need it at this point with all the crazy that is going on these days. Senate's panel is secretly, I guess, investigating Hegseth, looking into the potential sexual harassment stuff. It's a Democrat and a Rhino Republican that is doing this. I think the Senate is still where we've got a lot of the deep state still sitting in there. But Senators Roger Wicker from Mississippi and Senator Jack Reed, a Democrat from Rhode Island, are requesting to review documents from the Monterey County District Attorney's Office and Concerned Veterans for America. That's that group that Hegseth was involved with where supposedly this situation occurred. So whatever the case is, Hegseth may not make it, might make it. We'll see. I don't know. I'm sure there's a backup plan if he can't. Blumenthal's also a part of this committee, wrote a letter saying that in light of recent reports, he is asking that prior to scheduling any confirmation hearing, the committee ensure that the Concerned Veterans of America and the Veterans for Freedom preserve and produce all financial records and correspondence, particularly concerning credit card transactions relating to Pete Hegseth's tenure at the organization, for the committee to review. Hopefully, Hegseth's data doesn't bust him. We'll see. It's going to happen however it happens, and we probably can't really control that too much. This is talking about the number of people coming across the border and how dangerous that actually is. And again, they've got us focused on China. They got us focused on these drones. They got us focused on homegrown terrorists. Is that because they're planning something significantly bigger with the other ones? I don't know. None of us know. This is why many of us are saying, 1, be on guard. 2, drslikesgold.com. Second, some sort of crazy explosive device goes off. Stock market ain't going to like that day very much. Seriously, We're getting all the warning signs. We've been told to prepare. We've been told to have some cash. We've been told that there's going to be outages. We've been told that the internet may go down. We've been told a lot of things. Be prepared. Head on a swivel. Just know there's a lot of possibilities. Don't be scared. I've said it before. Where your heart is at is where you're going to be. So if you're in a fearful state and constantly entertaining all these fearful thoughts, you're likely going to be a lot closer to the fearful events. If you understand that you're protected and you've got on your armor of God and you're not stupid and take it off every day and then have to put it back on or whatever the hell, always cracks me up when people do that. Put on the armor of God. I do it every day. It's like, just keep it on. Stop taking it off. Don't be stupid. Keep your armor. You can sleep fine with it. Trust me, especially if you got a MyPillow. You're going to sleep great with the armor of God. And by the way, you still want to be protected while you're sleeping. So get over this nonsense that you've somehow got to put it on every day. No, put it on and keep it on. Duh, right? So this is something to keep in mind as well.
In the last 4 years, we've had something like 9 million people show up at our borders unannounced and have been allowed to come in and stay. 9 million people, if you aggregate it out on a monthly basis, is one U.S. Marine Corps worth of people every single month for 4 years. It's impossible to vet or to know anything meaningful about a Marine Corps' worth of people coming into this country every month for 4 years. As a former intelligence official myself, somebody responsible for counterterrorism operations and intel, if somebody had told me, well, we need you to guarantee that, you've got a screening process where we could look at who these people are so we know who we're letting in, that's impossible. You don't even know what these people's real names are. You don't know anything about their backgrounds. If you're not going to have border controls that are effective, it's very hard to have an effective CT policy.
Counterterrorism policy.
Counterterrorism. Yeah.
So, you left in 2017, I think you said.
I did.
But, your friends who stayed, who were in counterterrorism, they must have looked on with horror at this.
I think there've been, I've never heard anybody tell me that if you don't have control of your borders, that you can have good counterterrorism policy. In fact, I remember when I was in service, like many of us, I had a chance to actually talk to people who'd been terrorists, and you ask them sort of, okay, of all the things that governments do that make it hard for you to do what you do as a bad guy, what are some of those things? The top two were, the number one was getting across borders where they ask a lot of questions. They said that's an extremely tough thing to get around. It's the single easiest thing a government can do to isolate itself from at least a big element of terrorism, which is transnational terrorism.
Yeah, I'm not a counterterrorism official, but that was obvious to me. How could Biden administration officials who abetted this not know that?
I can't think of any credible counterterrorism official I know who, if asked the question, can you guarantee that you're able to validate up to 200,000 people a month who are coming through our border? That's that's not possible. It's simply impossible to know even what their real names are.
Oh. So I think the implication is that you would not be surprised if we see acts of terrorism in this country accelerate.
No.
Yeah, so that is what they're trying to do. Mexico opens the possibility of receiving non-Mexican deportees from Trump, basically saying, hey, look, it's cool if you send them our way. I don't know if she's doing that because she wants to look good or if she's doing that to try to keep cartels from getting pissed at her. If she's trying to keep them, the countries south of the border, from trying to cause problems in Mexico, or if she's just trying to play the deep state card. It's all possible. She's definitely, I'm reasonably sure, a deep state individual. We'll see. I know we're not supposed to be critical of her because she's a female. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're male or female, man. I judge you by what you're doing. I don't give a crap what sex you are. I don't give a crap what race you are. I don't give a crap about any of that stuff. Donald Trump put out a pretty interesting post in regards to the election, the 2020 election. said before even discussing the massive corruption which took place in the 2020 election, which gives us far more votes than is necessary to win all of the swing states, only need 3, it must be noted that the state legislatures were not in any way responsible for the massive changes made to the voting process, rules, and regulations, many made hastily before the election, and therefore the whole state election is not legal or constitutional. Additionally, the Georgia consent decree is unconstitutional, and the state 2020 presidential election is therefore both illegal and invalid. And that would include the 2 current senatorial elections. In Wisconsin, voters not asking for applications invalidates the election. All of this without even discussing the millions of fraudulent votes that were cast or altered. He's not done with 2020. We're not going to be done with 2020. We have a lot of truth to come out. The deep state cannot have that. They can't have that. They can't. Not an issue of, oh, we'll go to plan B. No, they're fudged if they do. They're fudged. Judge orders President-elect Donald Trump to be sentenced on January 10th in New York hush money case. Now, I'm sure he was told to do this. January 10th, 110 essentially, but a significant number day, if you will. What's also interesting, it's a 9 number too, by the way, 1, and then 2025, or 25-7, if we just do it that way, but 7 and 2 is 9. Kind of powerful, but nonetheless, why is this significant? This puts Trump out in the open, doesn't it? Puts Trump out on the New York streets where something could happen, where Trump could get shot. Now, there's a lot of speculation to suggest that Trump's not going to go. I probably think that would be a good idea. I could see Trump saying from a security standpoint, I'm not going. I am the president, and I will be sworn in 10 days from the date you want me to show up there. I will not be there. If you want to do it remotely somehow, cool. If not, I won't be there. Good luck sending the cops to come get me. He's not going to come back to New York anytime soon. So this is a very interesting move. And again, Mershon's doing this because he's being told to do this. Why? There's a lot of speculation, and we've got this story right here that would suggest that Mershon's got no intention of putting him in jail. This is Mershon's words. While this court, as a matter of law, must not make any determination on sentencing prior to giving the parties and defendant an opportunity to be heard, it seems proper at this juncture to make known that the court's inclination to not impose any sentence of incarceration. Basically saying, I'm not going to put him in jail. Come on, Trump, just come on down. Let's just talk about what your sentence is. Let's fine you a bunch of money or something stupid. So we'll see what happens and how this plays out. But they're trying some shenanigans, unquestionably. And we're going to probably have to make some ripples to keep those from getting crazy. Here's where Dan Bongino talks about the assassination attempts by drones should be on everyone's radar. We're in perilous territory. Liars and frauds in our government aren't being honest about the threat. And they're not. Now, one thing I would consider, folks, is a long stick. I don't know. I got a pole that I can attach to get lights down. I've got one that I've used that you can extend. Again, a lot of people want to think that if you see a drone floating around outside your house, the first thing you should do is grab your Second Amendment item and start shooting at it. That's a bad idea. That's going to definitely get you in jail and likely hurt people. So don't do that. If one's close to you, hit it. Stick something up in its propeller. You'll jack it all up, man. I mean, it could probably fly on 3 props, but make it difficult for them. Unless they got like a bomb on it, then get the hell away. But outside of that, be surprised what a metal stick will do. Baseball bat, any of those things, right? Much easier to do, much easier to wield, much easier to control, and likely accomplishes almost something more fun, frankly. If you just remember if you got Louisville Slugger and just hit the shit out of one of them things, can you imagine how good that would feel? For me, I'd pop my shoulder out. That'd be sucky for me. I'm not as good with the left-hander, but I could probably hit a drone left-handed. Apple CEO Tim Cook donates $1 million to Trump inauguration, and just another one of the tech people that have donated $1 million to the Trump inauguration. This trips me out, too. A lot of them, I think, are trying to get favors, sure, and this is a way, instead of trying to give Trump money, which I think Trump doesn't want, but they're putting money towards the inauguration. And $1 million, I'm assuming, is the cap, the limit, whatever. But Tim Cook is going to be doing it as well. Now, Joe Biden, I don't want to spend a crap ton of time on this, but Joe Biden has presented Hillary Clinton and George Soros and 17 others the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Obviously, the Presidential Medal of Freedom doesn't mean anything anymore, but you have those two key names, and there's one other, there's a couple significant names down here in the bottom. We'll read off a couple of these. Bono from U2, yeah, he needs one. Michael J. Fox, yeah, he needs one. Irvin Magic Johnson, he gets one. Ralph Lauren needs one, which, by the way, that dude looks really, really weird. I think there's a picture of him up here. Look how big his head looks. You ever notice all the people that seem to have done a lot of adrenochrome? Their head looks weird. Madonna's a great example. That redheaded chick that held up Trump's head, she's another good example. Their heads are just becoming like weird sizes. I just think it's the achrome stuff, but whatever. The one that really jumped out, and a bunch of people on here don't really care, is this guy. Now, it didn't jump out to me because I don't know who the hell he is, but it's going to be interesting. But Jose Andres. What's interesting about Jose Andres is... Oh, is this not the picture? I thought we had a picture of him with... Maybe it's this? Yes. This is Jose Andres with Ryan Ruth. Why does that seem strange? Doesn't that seem a little strange? Ryan Ruth hanging out with this dude, the chef. He's just some chef or something stupid. So that's kind of weird. I don't know why this was the page that we had pop up. Biden awards George Soros and Mike. Yeah, maybe I just... Yeah, whatever the case was. Maybe it was... I don't know. I didn't need to open that up. Dr. Andrew Huff, the coronavirus timeline giant scandal to subvert Trump. It seems that back in the day, they knew well about this well before they told Trump. And it was likely meant to hurt Trump. And that's what some of the officials are talking about. They knew about the coronavirus breakout in the fall of 2019 sooner than they claim. And the biotechnology used to create the virus developed in the U.S. and was then exported to China. Dr. Andrew Huff, author of The Truth About Wuhan, How I Uncovered the Biggest Lie in History, said all this on Breitbart News on Saturday. So we walked through some of that stuff. Long story short, they seem to have known all about what was happening well before they talked about it with us. Now, some of the crazy that they're trying to freak us out with, because again, they want you to get vaccinated, they want you to get on their medicines, they want you to be scared, they want you sick, they want you all these things. And this is the one that's going to matter. And this is the one. The first one was the trial run. This is the one where likely people will get sick. They're even talking in the UK about the bubonic plague. I think we'll get there in a sec. But scientists behind the Oxford COVID jab are developing here it is, bubonic plague vaccine amid fears of a superbug strain of the Black Death could emerge. So because they're afraid that somebody's going to make the Black Death weaponized, they're now making a vaccine for it. Well, again, you don't have some ISIS dude living in a cave making weaponized viruses. You need very specific situations to do that. We've funded many of these, some of them in Ukraine, some of them in China. So the idea that a weaponized bubonic plague is likely going to come is only because they're the ones creating it. So now they've got a vaccine for it. Who wants to bet the people that get the vaccine for the bubonic plague are going to be the ones that spread, the bubonic plague? Think about it. Again, make sure you've got your Ivers. Make sure, go to twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Get your contagion kit. Make sure you've got Ivers, hydroxychloroquine. Make sure you've got those medicines that kit has, or go to ivers.com. Spell out the whole word, .com. That's where I bought mine. That's what I've been using. It's probably made in India or Mexico or wherever the hell, but it's not a bad price. It certainly worked, and it's very affordable. I got like 100 tabs for like $50 or something like that. It wasn't that much. Much cheaper than a contagion kit, but the contagion kit's got some other really, really cool stuff. It's got that Z-Pack. It's got HCQ. It's also got the thing that helps if your upper respiratory needs to be opened up. It's got a lot of powerful stuff added to it, and it's done through a prescription, so it's a slightly different term. You can also get refills on it. Again, I'm not trying to do multiple commercials, but where we're at in the big picture, these are things that you want to be making sure you're taking care of yourself best you can. Keep your immune system high, especially if you're someone that flies. If you're flying a bunch, you need to be taking like either a bunch of stuff like this. You need to be taking something to make sure. Take some Ivers before you even go on these flights, because these things destroy your immune system when you're up in these planes. Just be safe, be careful. We've got a lot of crazy going on. Texas wildlife officials are now on the lookout for, a flesh-eating fly larvae. It's known as the man-eater. Apparently, it's able to get into wounds or something along those lines, and if it does, it will start eating you on the inside. Eventually, it will turn into a fly and pop back out and fly away. Larvae don't make more larvae. Usually, it's the fly that makes larvae. So, again, this is one of those crazy, weird things that they're trying to freak people out. And this, I know a lot of people would panic about something like this. Again, ivers are antiviral, anti-parasitic, HCQ especially, too. Keep those things in mind as well, because even something like this, swimming around inside your body or just chomping away inside your body, is not going to react well to a good hearty dose of HCQ/ivers. So keep that in mind as well. twc.health/OTF. Not messing around, folks. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty. This year is going to be an interesting year. We are turning the corner. We are changing everything, but they do not want to give up. And they're not going to easily give up. That is for sure. This was shared, again, we've been hearing a lot about, you've been hearing about the fog that's been going around. Particulate fog. There's this weird fog that's just particulates. It's not normal fog. Fog doesn't look like snow typically, and as people are experiencing fog where there's a lot of weird stuff. And then in this particular case, it's a Texas resident. They said they had this mystery fog hit us a couple of days ago, and today we're walking around and we saw a bunch of these out in the yard. Feels really light, like plastic. It's lightweight. It's got a really strong chemical smell, and they're everywhere. We live out in the middle of nowhere. We're not near a refinery. We're not near anything except for multiple lakes. Like, there's a lot of water around us. That's really the only thing that's close. We're out in the country. So a lot of people are seeing some very strange stuff. Probably not a good idea to be touching it without gloves, but I don't know, whatever the case is. It smells chemically. That's a bad sign, usually. So be on the lookout. Be smart, too. TikTok knew its live streams were exploiting children, Utah lawsuit claims. They don't really have any facts that they're throwing at us, but it wouldn't surprise me that TikTok knew that. That's one of the things that's become quite sad. A couple things have happened. One, there's a lot of people that have taken advantage of OnlyFans and gotten them to do things and then gotten proof of it and then threatened to send this stuff to other people, their parents, whatever, post it on Facebook, whatever. So they're kind of blackmailed into doing other things. It's sextortion or sex. It's not cool. So they're doing that, but they also do similar stuff with the kids. They get kids to do silly things, if you will, and immediately they get pedophiles that are finding kids doing live videos, and TikTok knew this. So they'd stream all the pedophiles to this video, pop it up on their feeds, and they'd start watching it. And many of them would respond, "Oh, do this, do that." And they don't, the kid doesn't know that they're adults because a lot of times they pretend that they're not. So there is a really, really bad sense of, problems. Let's put it that way. Again, don't like TikTok. I've said it before, but I still don't want the app banned. I don't like the idea of banning the app. I think there should be some protections put in place. As far as the back end and sharing data with China, there should just be a very, very stern warning to everybody that if you use this, your information is literally going to China. Everything about you, everything you do, everything on your phone, if you're silly enough to use your phone for TikTok, everything. Where you show up, where your buying habits are, where you've been GPS-wise, all of that stuff. And for those that think they don't have anything to hide, if you've got friends and family and their contact information, you should at least be consistent or concerned about their information since you don't seem to care about your own. But whatever the case is, TikTok is not a good app, that's for sure. It is what it is. Finally, I want to remind you guys of course, our merchandise. Got merchandise too. There's another link down there. There's a lady that made the, I don't have the shirt on right now, but the Dan I'd Rather shirt was pretty cool. She drew those for me and started selling them on her own page, which is cool. So I've got that link below if you guys are interested in getting the Dan I'd Rather shirts. They're kind of fun. It's amazing how well she did the picture of the hat and me and the glasses and pointing at you. And so anyway, I ended up buying a bunch of her shirts just to kind of support what she was doing. And thank you. I believe she's still selling them. But we've also got a friend of the show as well that is kind of pressing her own shirts and whatnot. She's doing a lot of this herself, which is kind of cool. Go to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Got a lot of really great stuff. Got the new cups that look like the Jack Daniels cups, but it's Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th president. Very, very cool stuff. Got those if you want to check those out. Of course, got the Great Awakening with the DRS logo on the back. I love that. Got the DRS stuff, the hat. We've got the sweatshirts, the baseball shirts, which I love, and long sleeve, short sleeve, tank tops, everything under the sun. Also got the mugs with the Dan Radio style if you guys just feel like totally living the Dan Radio style dream, because it's what I'm doing every day. I love it, man. I got my OTF cup, and I'm just like, I'm just constantly Dan Radio style. Feels so good. Love it. You want to be a part of that? You certainly can. And we've got 3 other cool stuff that they're promoting, or we're promoting. 9/11, forget, it was an inside job, so some really cool stuff. They always do a lot of artwork on the back, some pretty major stuff, a lot going on. So when you're standing in line, you can show people a lot of things it's like they're learning stuff while they're sitting in there. A lot of people don't know a lot of this stuff. A lot of people don't realize Building 7 fell without any sort of help. And then, of course, you got the infamous pullet that happened from the Army, or the fireman guy. We've also got the 611 fight, put on your armor of God. Friggin' don't take it off, people. Don't be crazy. So that one's really cool. And then the 5G warfare is the other really, really big one that talks about what is 5G warfare, and it's got first generation, second, third, fourth, fifth, and that's got that all written on the back. So some really cool stuff if you're into, kind of trying to show people around you some facts, maybe while you're standing in line at the grocery store. These are some great products to do exactly that. You're helping the channel. You're helping out a family that's doing these. It's a great little family, a husband, wife, and her 2 kids, trying to make a couple extra bucks for them. So please please reach out to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. And be a part of the solution. Be a part of the change. Show people what they don't already know. Sometimes that's more powerful than you realize. Go to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Got a lot happening, folks. Be mindful, be careful. We got the 6th coming up tomorrow, got the 10th coming up, and we got the 20th coming up. We got a lot going on. We got 15 days till Trump is sworn into office, and we're going to see how this all plays out. If you see something, say something. Be on the lookout, guys. Make sure you're posting, make sure you're rippling. We need to get people up to speed as quickly as possible. I love you guys. I'm going to be there with you, shoulder to shoulder. We will get through this. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.